How's everybody going, guys? Aaron's back with another deck profile video. Today we're gonna be looking at my take on Emancipator. This is my budget, noob, and blind going second Emancipator build, or as I call it, Noob. So let's start things off with our Emancipator excavators. So we have one copy, a lone copy of our waifu Emancipator researcher. So she's looking nice on the secret rare. And we only run one copy of these because out of two boxes, I hope only pulled one. So unfortunate. So obviously researcher is the best uh, excavator out of all of these because you can just special summon this if you control a rock monster on your field. So there you go. Lone copy of researcher. And then two copies of her brother, Emancipator Seeker. So as I've said, Researcher is slightly better than the rest of these because for Seeker, you can just special summon this if you control another Emancipator monster. And lastly, for the Excavators, a playset of Emancipator Analyzer, which is based on my experience, have the best pull ratios out of all the tuners here. So there you go. Currently, we have 6 Emancipator Excavators from our deck. And now let's go to the extenders. Alright, let's go to the extenders. I run 2 copies of Red Resonator. I know, it's pretty unconventional, but as I've said, I only have 1 copy of Researcher, so that's right. While this will not perfectly or even meagerly serve as a substitute for Researcher, it's pretty good. It has a pretty good effect that when you special summon, normal summon it, you can SS level 4 or lower monster from the hand. So effectively, you can combo this for a Reptite. Aside from Registrator, 2 copies of Gigantes, a free special summon for the cost of banishing 1 Earth monster from grave, and of course, Block Dragon. This is a pretty broken card, and you can just special summon this from your hand or graveyard by banishing 3 monsters, and if it leaves the field, sent to the graveyard, you can add up to 3 Earth monsters equals to its level, so that's pretty mad. And of course, triple Doki Doki, which is very good in this deck. I use this specifically to bring out Analyzer once you have a level 4 rock monsters in your hand, so pretty good. So there goes for your extenders. Now let's proceed to the Emancipator Excavators target. So I run 3 copies of the Blue Boy Crystal Dragite. I think this is pretty good. If this is special summoned by the effect of any of these and Reptite, in fact, you can just draw 1 card. So it's an easy +1. So I really like that. And its second effect, I don't really use that often, but you can target 1 water synchro in your field or in your graveyard to turn it. So, but later I'll show you. I run 2 copies of Dragite, so I don't really use that second effect that much. Alright, so next we're running 3 copies of Koki Meru. Sorry, I butchered that one. Koki Meru Guardian. So for you just tribute this and negate monster effect when it's activated. Cool. 2 copies of Sandman. As I've said, this is a going second build, so Sandman shows up every once in a while. Lone copy of Wall for your quick play spells and Gate Blocker. This is pretty useful for like any deck that heavily relies on its field spell. For example, Mystic Mine. I've used this once and won against Mystic Mine with this. Alright, so there goes for your excavation targets. Let's now proceed to your spells. Running up the spell lineup, 2 copies of Emancipator Signs. I mean, the artwork on this card is really good. You can see Researcher here, trying to cast something on Crystal Dragite in order to bring out Reptite. Pretty cool card. And has really good effect also. Just like a Monster Reborn, And if you targeted a Adamantipator monster using this card, you can just take one level 4 rock monster from the deck, place it on top. So just making sure that you either draw it in the next turn or you excavate it off your Adamanticipators. Next, of course, monster reborns are affected. We have 3 copies of Reborn. And then double Twin Twisters just for the battle removal. I mean this just in case I run into any decks like Mystic Mine or anything that relies on back row. So that's it. And a lone copy of Abstract Dragon just for draw power. Next, we'll go to the going second cards. Of course, Red Reboot. Very, very good for going second. Then Wrestler Pancratops. Dark Ruler no more. Nibiru the Primal Being for your opponent that plays heavy combo decks. And of course, the Turtle Kaijo. Turtle Kaijo. For any monster that's pretty annoying, you can just tribute it over. 2 copies of Ash Blossom Joyous Spring, no need to explain that. 2 copies of Effect Veiler. Pretty good in some games. I've used this won me a couple of games. And a lone copy of Ghost Bell. I explain later on why I put this in the main, but you can also use it as a hand trap, of course. So that's it for your main deck. Let's now proceed to our extra deck. Of course, 3 copies of Adamantipator Risen Riptide. I really like this card, not only because of the artwork, but because of its excavation effect. I run 3 of these because I don't run the green crystal. Yeah, crystal Riptide. So I use 3 of these, and if I'm able to summon 2 of these in a turn, of course once in the graveyard, its second effect is active. It's like a DD Crow on your opponent's turn. Pretty cool. And then 2 copies of Adamantipator Risen Dragite. This card is really, really good and has a mad artwork on Secret Rare also. And not only that, its first effect won me a couple of games also. It enabled me to OTK my opponents on turn 2. You could just excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you do, return cards your opponent controls back to the hand. So it's a non-targeting return. Isn't that mad? Up to the number of excavated rock monsters. Pretty cool. And we'll go to the effect negations. Monsters with effect negations, of course, Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon for negating monsters' effects, and Herald of the Arclight. Herald of the Arclight. Sorry. Herald of the Arclight. An Omni-Negate. And Dawn Dragster. I'm able to bring out Dawn Dragster actually using Huggy Firebrax, bringing out Ghost Bell from the deck to the field. So that's it. That's for your synchros. And now let's proceed to the links and the exegesis. Links and the exegesis. So I run 1 copy of Huggy Firebrax. Pretty easy to bring out, and I use this to bring out Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. I am ashamed to say that, but that's what Christian Huggy Firebrax is here for. And then some of our generic running 2s, Akashic Magician, also non-targeting return but pretty conditional compared to Dragite. And I use the Earth Charmer. And I play Gallant Garnite, of course. This effect is very, very useful for me. You can just detach 1 material for this card and then add 1 rock monster from the deck directly to the hand. So there are games where I use this to add Blood Dragon from the deck to the hand, or maybe Researcher, or maybe Seeker, depending on the case. 1 turn into Dragon for that back row removal. And in case I'm not able to go to my single place, I also play Link 3 Draco Talker and Link 4 Topologic Zero Boros. Zero Boros. Zero Boros pretty much come. Yeah. Let's cut it there. So awkward. Lastly, let us now proceed to our side deck. So for this deck, I side 1 more copy of Effect Veiler. pretty useful, either for going first or going second, just to top your opponent's place. 2 copies of Cookie Mirror Overload. I actually seldomly use this, but I think this is good for going first. You can just trace this, negate the summon of your opponent. 1 copy of Raigeki, an extra copy of Twin Twisters. I already made 2 copies of these. Titanocider, that non-banishable Lost Wind, and then copies of Parallel Exceed for your link line place. Then 3 copies of Judgment. Say no to your opponent. Side 3 of Judgment. Then I also side 3 copies of the archetype specific monster negation. Emancipator Resonance, pretty conditional compared to Judgment. And lastly, a lone copy of Solemn Strike. Before I forget, I also side 1 copy of Abyss Liller for mashups that heavily reuse the graveyard. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. My deck profile researcher says bye. Oh, and also big shoutouts to Courtside for selling me these awesome sleeves. You see, this is pretty awesome. Winda and Ayusa for my main deck, and for my extra deck, I have Area and Heat. Pretty cool. So okay, once again, researcher says that's all, folks.